the first piece of information is the latency, which could span years or decades between environmental exposure and the onset of clinical disease. And so the evidence from Guam teaches that, number one, if we're going to find the environmental factors that might cause or contribute to sporadic ALS anywhere else in the world, we need to look far back in terms of the exposures that occurred probably post-conception through infant life, childhood life, adolescence, and adulthood. Now, because and that will lead us to primary disease prevention. Now, in terms of secondary disease prevention, meaning the use of therapeutic agents, we have a long period of time between exposure and onset of disease to interfere with the pathogenic process that leads to the clinical development of the disease. Where to look? The evidence from Guam suggests that we're dealing with a situation of DNA damage caused by environmental agents, failure to repair normally, driving the cell into an attempt to recycle, but nerve cells are post-mitotic and cannot recycle, such that eventually the cell that is trying to recycle undergoes apoptosis and dies. All that takes a long time, years or decades. So there is a large therapeutic window, but the real challenge for medical researchers is to identify the primary drivers of this disease and to prevent exposure in the first place. And the evidence from Guam has given us pointers of the types of chemicals, both natural in origin and synthetic, man-made exposure, that might provide avenues for research to look for whether these are associated with cases of sporadic ALS elsewhere in the world.